Well, hello everybody, Mannix here. This is going to be a knife review, or knife reviews, a 2-for-1 feature right here, on a knife that moved me, but a knife that was extremely simple. A knife that I saw, and for some reason, I really just wanted to check it out. I really wanted one for the price, for the way it looked, for its simplicity. It doesn't get too much simpler than this when it comes to folding tactical knives, or you want to call them modern folding knives, I guess, it has a pocket clip and such. This is the SOG Traction. Now these are sweet little knives for the money. This is the clipped version, and then here they have the tanto version. Of course, I went for this one first. If you know me, if you know Mannix, if you know cutters, I'm into the tantos. I always go for tanto. But I got the clip blade for two reasons. One, because they're so cheap, and another reason I'm going to get into. There's a few issues I have with this knife, and it's a shame because the issues that the knife has, I feel like, are really stupid things that SOG could easily fix. It's not like a price point thing. It's not a... No, they should have added this kind of steel, they should have did that. It's something really stupid. It's a function I believe they put in the knives intentionally, but I can't really tell either. It's very bizarre. I'm going to let you see for yourself if you don't know, because I've seen a few people mention this in their reviews and they thought it was a good thing, but on SOG's website and the specifications, it does not mention this whatsoever. But we're going to find out together. So, that being said, these knives are very nice. They're extremely lightweight. That is the first thing that comes to mind when you pick these knives up. They're very lightweight for the size. They're full-size blades. Let's get the specs down first. So we have a closed length of 4.5 inches. It weighs 2.3 ounces, the website says. Extremely light, not even 3 ounces. Blade length, 3.5 inches. You have a 3.5 inch, what most people call a legal blade. Most states are allowed to open carry, or sorry, even conceal carry with at most 3.5 inches of blade length. And it's super light too, so you have a lot of length for the weight here. You have an FRN, or GRN, I guess they call it glass reinforced nylon handle, no steel liners, that contributes to its lightweightness. Lockback, tip up carry only, it is a loop over clip, so it's very covert. It is swappable to the left side. The blade steel is a 5CR13 MOV, so it's going to be on the softer side if you're used to the Spyderco Tenacious line that uses 8CR13 MOV. The difference is that there's 5 chromium content versus 8 chromium content. For the most part, it's just going to be a little bit softer. And the 8CR13 MOV already is a fairly soft steel, but again, you're getting a lot for your money. This retails at $27. Yeah, retail. Made in China. But you can buy this all day long for $20, sometimes $18, $19, depending on where you go. That is extremely cheap for what you're getting here. And you have a reputable company behind it. SOG, I'm not a huge fan of SOG, but when I went through their knives, when I go through what they come out with each year, some of them do look pretty cool. They're just a little on the pricey side for me, but these knives right here, I really like. These are full-on functioning blades. They're all for function. They're working blades. They're comfortable, they're lightweight. Again, full-size blade right here, and you can conceal carry these in a lot of places. Not that I care, I'll open carry it anyway, but you have a good pocket clip there for the most part. Again, there's a little issue I have there, but see, SOG does a funny thing. They like to steal designs sometimes, I notice. For instance, the SOGzilla, and then their small SOGzilla, whatever they called it, they looked like very similar to the Endura and Delicos by Spyderco, and everyone saw that and were like, what? SOG, why did you do that? You're not like an overseas company that's, that rips off designs blatantly. A lot of people are weirded out by that. Not bad knives, but it was a little bizarre that did that. A lot of people didn't notice this, though. These make me think of a specific knife that they no longer make, but I happened to have been collecting recently. You know what I'm talking about? Huh. Let's see. How about Cold Steel Voyager Old Gen? The first gen, one of the first gens of the Cold Steel Voyagers. I don't know, is it just me? This is the medium, by the way. The large is a little bit bigger than the Traction right here, but I think it's an even better comparison to get the medium because their lengths are almost exactly the same. But we have FRN handles on both of them, no steel liners. They have similar patterns to diamond traction patterns right here. I don't know. Tip up carry, this has a loop, but better pocket clip, I guess most people will think for the SOG. I prefer this one, but it's not a big deal. They're both pin construction. Both pin construction. Both lightweight. This is a VG1 steel. I don't know, it's a similar design. That's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw the pictures of these, and that's probably the reason I got them, because I love the old model Cold Steel Voyagers. I'm collecting them. Similar. Very similar knife. I guess no lanyard hole, that's a downside. Not that I care, I never use lanyards on folders, but not that I said they're ripping off a design or anything, but it's funny how it's, FRN diamond pattern right here. Somewhat similar shape right there too. A very simple design, pin construction, no steel liners. It's, after seeing the Sogzilla, it just makes me wonder. It's almost like copying work off of someone who's no longer alive, I guess. It's a weird... Like, who cares? I'm not trying to take it away from SOG by saying that, but it's just kind of a funny observation. It's similar. But that's the reason I think I like these so much. I love the simplicity of the old model Voyagers. I love these knives. They're medium light duty. They're extremely light. You get a lot of edge for your money. When it comes to the whole defense thing, a lot of people like to talk about self-defense and such. Lighter knives generally can be very good for that because you get a lot of blade, you get a lot of edge there. It's very easy to maneuver. It's more maneuverable. But anyway, not that it really matters. Who cares? But that's going to be an up and a downside. The pin construction knives you cannot take apart. It is a single piece of steel in there. And the upside is that it won't loosen on you as easily as a screw will, but over time I think they still do loosen at some point. It will take much, much, much longer, and it depends on what you're doing with your knife. But if you do something that's even just a little bit, even if it's just pushing it a little bit, you might permanently loosen it forever. And it's not easy to tighten rivets or pins back down. I think you can hammer them, but don't push your luck. If you're going to hammer these to tighten them, which I might on this blade right here, pretty soon it's going to be at my own risk. But again, super cheapy knives. The upside is if it's tight and you got a good one, then you don't really have to worry about it loosening up on you pretty much ever. But then again, I would still prefer a screw. You know why? Because there's this thing called Loctite, and you can Loctite the screw down and then it won't loosen on you. Bada boom, bada bing. Who needs rivets? But in a way, I do kind of like the simplicity to these as well. Just simple working knives. I love this reverse curve, inverse curve tanto blade shape right here. A lot of people won't like this. They'll think it's ugly. They'll think it's too modern. It's too weird. It's too gimmicky. This has been extremely useful when it comes to work, and I'll talk about it in a second here, but most people are going to go for the clip blade, and there's a recurve on it, which is also very handy. I love recurves. I like the tanto a little bit better, but this is still a great blade still, or blade shape, sorry. Now, these are not very consistent. Again, one of the reasons I wanted to get a second one to test consistency. This one has a lot of horizontal play. You can visibly see there's a lot, almost to the point where I want to try and tighten it down. It's just a little bit too much for me. I don't mind a little bit of side to side, but that's too much. Let's check the Voyager. Come on. Pretty much nothing. I feel just enough for like a human hair, if not even less than that. But this is, you can visibly see it bending. There's a gap in the plastic there, the GRN, and I'm going to try to tighten it down. However, when we go to this one, a little more than the Voyager, but about half as much as this one right here. So because of the price point, you can't expect much consistency. Here's one thing that was consistent that I wasn't happy about, though. Actually, just feel how much... Oh, this one's so much smoother than that one. More firm closing. This one, it's wobbling. Not very consistent there, but again, for a sub $20 knife, there's not really a whole lot you can expect. Here's what I don't like. So this one I did not adjust yet. This pocket clip, look how loose that is. You can see it's not even making contact with the handle. It fits in your pocket okay. I have sweatpants on right now, so it's working. But if you wear jeans or cargo pants, it's going to be just a tad loose. I wanted it to just be a little bit tighter, which is what I did. Thank goodness they allow you to take the pocket clip off because there's actually a screw right there. A Torx screw, it's not a pin. For a second I thought it was pin construction even for the pocket clip, and I was like, ah, crap, when I got this one. Because this one used to be just as loose as this one. So the pocket clip tension, sorry, I can only assume is meant to be around this loose, and I don't like that. I don't like it when the pocket clip's not actually making any tension. It just needs to be a little bit closer to the handle. Will be perfect. But what I did was I took it off, I just bent it with some pliers, and now I made it slightly too tight, but it works a little better. I still prefer it over that one. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I just wanted to show you on camera before I do that. This is most likely how it's going to come. I don't like the looseness of the pocket clip, but it's easily adjusted. Thank goodness they give you a screw, so you can also switch this to the left side if you are lefty. Since it is a lockback, since you have dual thumb studs, it is a 110% lefty-friendly knife. Thank you very much. So, this brings me to the second thing that I despise. I despise about these knives, and it's really stupid. I don't know exactly why SOG put them in here. It doesn't say on their website anywhere. I didn't really find any info on it online, but watch what happens when I try to open this. Or sorry, when I try to close this. Whoa! The blade shoots down at you when the edge touches your finger. I've never gotten cut with it. Really, it's not as dangerous as it looks, but you can only get cut if you slide your finger across the edge. If you just press it on you, you can press your hand, the palm of your hand on a blade, and it won't cut you. Don't do that, but just saying, for reference, if you push it on your hand, you're not going to cut yourself. It's if you slide your hand or your palm, that's when you get the cut. That's how serrations work, not as if they're piercing on you. But still, if you move your finger or something and you don't expect it to happen. There was someone who did a review who said he liked how these knives almost feel like they're assisted, which they do. It's just the way the lockback is designed. When you push out the blade a little bit, it kind of pops out for you. Yeah, I guess that's kind of nice, but it does that in reverse too. So when you're trying to open it, whoa, it rebounds back at your fingers if you don't open it all the way. It's almost like building tension, and you let go, it springs back almost as if it's trying to close. Why SOG did this? At first I hated this. I hate it because watch when you try to flick it without wrist movement. It shoots back at your thumb. You almost nearly cut yourself every time. Yeah, if you just give it a little flick, yeah, no problem, it opens up. But you have to consciously keep that in mind when trying to flick these knives open and closed. I don't like that feature. Now, when I was actually using this at work, this one in particular, I love the blade shape, by the way. Opening packages is perfect. That extra Tantos in general are good at opening packages in the slicing motion. But the inverse curve helps even more because it actuates the point even more. So it's just such a pleasure to use. And I like the reverse curve because if you're cutting line or rope, it helps even more. It's almost like a hawkbill. So this is a great utility blade shape and very good self-defense because you're going to do the whole, impact cut thing that leaves a very big wound. Not like a samurai or anything here, but that's something that the tanto, which the tanto blade was invented for, like the samurai back in ancient Japan. And also it's extremely strong piercer. This is Americanized, by the way. This is not the traditional tanto, but it's close enough. So utility and defense style blade, I really like this blade shape a lot, and I like the way it looks. I just happen to like tantos. A lot of people think they're ugly, I understand. But again, I don't like this feature. The fact that there's this weird reverse assist. I mean, yeah, again, it pops out and then also does this thing in the reverse. I don't know why they put it there. When I was working with it, I noticed it is helpful when you depress the bar, it just kind of closes for you, and then you can close it easily with one hand. I just put it with a boink, boom, back to the pocket, all in one hand I could do it. But with a regular lockback, you kind of have to rock it down and then you can close it. Not really a big deal. And this one has a half stop, which I also really like, so even if you do rock it down, it stops right there in place, and then you can... gives you time to move your fingers out of the way, and then you can close it. I wish I would just do a half stop and just have it manual. You know, there's actually tension trying to put it back in there rather than tension flinging it out like that, and then it flings it back at you when you try to open it. Again, maybe that's to help you close it. You just press a button that does it for you, but come on. Do we really need that? That's such a safety hazard. Seriously, it touches my finger every time I try to close it. Look, it fights you when you're trying to open it. I do not like that. You can't flick it open without wrist movement because it flings back at you. SOG, why did you do that? Anyway, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's annoying. I don't know why they did that. They could have kept the price the same, if not cheaper, if they got rid of that function. I don't know why they designed the lockback that way. I don't see a use for it compared to all the downsides it comes with. That's my point. Again, found it somewhat useful. Like, oh, it's a lockback I close with one hand. Yay, I can still do that with any other lockback, but this makes it slightly easier. Is that worth the risk factor? I don't know. I don't know why it's on there, but that is a huge hit for me. The pin construction, I would rather just have screws, but whatever. Simplicity, cool. I don't really care. It's kind of whatever. But then that function right there, I hate it so much. I do not like that. I'd rather just have it a regular lockback. If it was a regular lockback, they made the pocket maybe just a little bit tighter out of the box. This is just a little more consistent. This would be a 10 out of 10 all day, 100% recommend. Super, just great workhorse. You know, medium, lighter duty, but great for opening packages. Can work for self-defense, you know, if you're into the whole self-defense thing when it comes to knives. A lot of traction here. It's comfortable. On the slimmer side, so it's easy to carry. Again, super lightweight. I like the pattern right here. Jimping up here works if you're into that. There's just nothing really I have negative to say about it. Carries well with some. It needs some slight adjustments and mods. Not gonna be very consistent. But this is the one huge problem I have with it. The fact that it snaps shut on you for some reason. I don't like that. Look at that. You have to fight it to get it open. So as you're opening it, it kind of helps you open it, and then when you try to open it, it gets harder and harder and harder and harder and harder. And then you can get it open and it snaps in place. Good up and down lockup, by the way. Very little, if not any movement. There's a little bit side to side on this one, but that's acceptable. No up and down there. Very strong lockup for such a simple design. Again, this one has a way better lockup than the Tanto one I got. Not saying it's because it's the Tanto. It's probably just I don't think it has anything to do with the blade. It's just this one happened to be a little looser. I'm going to try to tighten that up, but this one, perfect. Perfect up and down, perfect tension, very smooth, easy to open and close, minus the weird voodoo thing right here trying to close the knife on me. I don't know why it does that, but look at that. It just, I don't know why you have to consciously make a flick like this thing every single time. You can even get the XL. You can even get probably the X2, barely have any wrist movement, and get it open just like that. I know it kind of failed there, but I'm used to these. The cone thumb studs suck on this thing. Thankfully, Cold Steel changed that. But these are good thumb studs. Perfect. They're cylindrical, and they taper just a little bit at the top there, but that's how you do thumb studs. That's how you do them. So, the SOG Traction. Very cool knife, you know, kind of lackluster. There's not a whole lot going on here, but it's because of their simplicity and because of how simple and basic they are and because of how cheap they are. And the blade steels are very sharp, and once they do dull on you, which they will in time, just strop them a little bit, they'll be sharp again. Once that finally dulls on you, just resharpen them. It'll be really easy. They'll last you a while, and they're so cheap. Even if it does break, something busts on you, if you're abusing it or something, they're cheap. 20 bucks. Some of the best knives out there for the money. You get a lot for it. They're very good working blades. Someone just needs a knife that works. Someone who's not used to knives, somebody who doesn't flick their knives open, they just open and close them conventionally. This is a knife you could give them. It won't break the bank. They'll find them very useful. They'll find them a lot sharper than knives they can get at most utility stores and such. But that weird reverse assist function, I don't like. I just don't like it. I don't know why it's there, SOG. Just get rid of that. You'd have a home run right here. But I'd have to bring it down from like a 10 out of 10 to like a 7 out of 10. It's that bad. It's that huge of an issue. I don't like it. But other than that, these are very cool knives, I think, for the money.